President Trump, the men and women of law enforcement say two things to me repeatedly. First, you have taken the handcuffs off them and let them do their jobs, and you let cops be cops. That's why all this is happening. The director, the deputy director are working around the clock. All of these great men and women in the FBI, they have families at home, and they are working during a government shutdown right now. Many of them have small children. Many of them, I was talking to an agent this morning, many of them have babies at home, and they are working around the clock to not only keep our country, but our world safe. And that's what Operation Summer Heat did. Thank you, Director, and to the Deputy Director for everything you did on behalf of the Department of Justice, and you're going to continue to keep doing. And they set the stage for what we're doing in Memphis. You're going to hear a lot more about that, our joint task force next week, but they set the stage for Memphis. And last night alone in Memphis, there were almost 70 arrests, there were 12 guns seized, and there was a 70-year-old man arrested as a result of our operation in Memphis who raped a child under the age of 3. That one case makes everything we're doing worthwhile. So thank you all for being here on behalf of both of us. Thank you, President Trump.
Thank you. Todd, you want to say something?
Sure. You just heard Pam Bondi was openly praising Donald Trump, and Trump had also given the DOJ complete freedom. But in the past few days, the chaos that happened on the streets of America, everyone has seen it. Pam Bondi's actions against Americans, such actions have probably never been seen before in the history of the United States. Now, the biggest question is, if Bondi was so close to Trump, even having dinner with him, then why did Trump suddenly remove her from the position? What is the biggest, exact, and clear reason behind this? Today, I will decode it in this video. Stay till the end of the video. Okay, Robert Garcia said on a national channel that Pam Bondi is the most corrupt attorney general in the United States.
Pam Bondi has been orchestrating this White House cover-up. She's been completely incompetent, the most corrupt AG in the history of the United States. She has doxed survivors, released their information, has meddled in U.S. elections, and so I'm glad to see her go. And at the same time, she's set to appear before our committee in 2 weeks. And I want to remind the public and the president that the subpoena that we put in place, where all Democrats and some Republicans joined us, that subpoena doesn't say or specify whether she needs to be in her position currently to testify. It says, we want to speak to Pam Bondi, whether she's the Attorney General or not. We've already checked with the lawyers. We've checked with the committee. She is set to be in front of the Oversight Committee in 2 weeks, and now she has an opportunity to come clean, tell the truth. Her boss isn't going to be Donald Trump anymore, and it's time to get to the bottom of why there's been this massive cover-up and why the other half of the files have yet to be released.
So Jamie Raskin strongly criticized Pam Bondi, calling her entire tenure a disaster.
Tenure was plainly a disaster, but she did everything that Donald Trump asked her to do. They sacked dozens and dozens of career attorneys just for having worked on the January 6th case. They did everything they could to obstruct the release of the Epstein files. Millions of pages of the Epstein files were withheld by Pam Bondi. They did nothing to try to crack down on the outrageous ICE tactics that were trampling people's civil rights and constitutional liberties in Minneapolis. And so she basically did everything that he asked her to do, and she shouldn't be just the fall person for a series of policies that I think are profoundly infected with unconstitutionality and illegality. So, people have been calling me saying, you must feel great because she called you a washed up loser lawyer during the hearing. And, I have no personal animus towards Pam Bondi, and I understand she was a pretty good prosecutor in Florida, and I hope she can restore her reputation. But going all the way down the road with the corruption in the administration, I think a career killer for a lot of people.
Okay, CNN covered the internal developments between Pam Bondi and Donald Trump, revealing some key details.
Pam Bondi has been officially fired. She's out of her role. Now, where she goes next, that is a question mark. I was told in the meeting or in the conversation President Trump had with Bondi yesterday, he floated the idea of a judgeship as a potential landing place for Bondi. And in the interim period, while they are figuring out who is going to take over as Attorney General, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche will step into that role. So he will be serving in the interim. Pam Bondi, though, is out. We had already reported that she was in Florida. We have been talking about for the last several hours how in the last week, President Trump had been calling allies, asking about firing her, who should replace her. It doesn't seem as though they have someone specific in mind. We know that they have floated the idea of Lee Zeldin, among other people. Zeldin is currently leading the EPA, but I am told that is not a done deal. President Trump, interestingly, did issue a very flattering for President Trump's statement about Bondi last night, saying Attorney General Pam Bondi is a wonderful person and she is doing a good job. The reason that I note that is that because when we saw Kristi Noem being fired, there was none of that kind of generosity of spirit when it came to President Trump. Now, just a reminder, Bondi has a very close relationship with Susie Wiles, the chief of staff. They're both political operatives in Florida. They kind of came up together, so they have a long-lasting relationship. But President Trump had grown increasingly frustrated about a number of issues. One, didn't believe that some of the cases against his adversaries or political adversaries were being brought fast enough. He didn't believe that she had handled the Epstein files well, among other things. So we do know they had this conversation yesterday in which essentially President Trump told her that she was not long for this world, that he would eventually be replacing her. What we know now is that she has been officially fired. And again, Todd Blanche will step into that role as the Deputy Attorney General into an acting Attorney General role.
Donald Trump has been seen struggling continuously in his second term over the past 1 year. Most Americans became quite unhappy just a few days after the beginning of Trump's second term. The main reason behind this was said to be that Trump gave a completely free hand to the DOJ and FBI, after which ICE's actions created an atmosphere of fear and tension across the United States. Trump's immigration policy also caused significant damage to his popularity. Along with this, after Trump's name was mentioned in the Epstein files, he had to face strong opposition in Congress. To regain his declining popularity, Trump tried to take major international steps, but the response appeared to go against him. Amid tensions related to Iran, many Americans came out onto the streets protesting to stop a war. When Trump began to feel that he might face a heavy loss in the midterm elections, he made a major move. He removed Attorney General Pam Bondi from her position in an attempt to regain his lost popularity. But now many voters in the United States have started to believe that electing Trump again was their biggest mistake. At this point, Trump appears to be weakening from all sides. If you liked my research, then like the video, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you think was the real reason behind removing Bondi.